was worth it, that it achieved results, and why?
Yeah. First, I would say my answer to that question is it's still yet to be determined. And I believe that Iraq, if you just look where Iraq is on a map, you realize how strategically important it is to stability in the Middle East. And I think if we get this right, I think overall stability will improve in the region, which means it will translate to the United States in my mind.
But it's still an open question, because if it
is.
If we don't get it right,
it is.
Then it was not worth it.
I mean,
is that
again? What I'm saying is the result. The result we'll know in 3 to 5 years is what I've always said.
3 to 5 years from now.
Yeah.
NBC Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel speaking with Army General Ray Odierno, the top commander in Iraq, about whether or not the Iraq war was worth it, whether or not the Iraq of the future, the Iraq of 2013 or 2014 or 2015, will be a stabilizing force in the Middle East, and whether that will translate to additional national security for the United States. On September 1st, the war in Iraq ends. It's over, not metaphorically or symbolically, but really actually over. The security agreement between the Bush administration and the Iraqi government dictates that the U.S. combat mission in Iraq ends September 1st, 2010. All troops will have to be withdrawn next year. At some point after the initial invasion of Iraq, which was justified by false claims that Iraq had had a hand in 9/11 or that Iraq was an imminent threat to attack us with weapons of mass destruction, at some point after those claims sank under their own lying weight, the Iraq war justification changed. It was no longer the WMD claim that Paul Wolfowitz admitted was just an ostensible reason for us going. At some point, they started selling us instead the idea that war could be a force for good, that war there could be constructive, that it would and could and should have a positive effect on Iraq and the greater Middle East, because an invaded, conquered, occupied Iraq could be a spark for democratic hope in the Middle East. That became the guiding vision for why we were there for so long. We couldn't leave because things were bad. We had to keep doing war there until war there made it better there. Yet we are leaving now, and we are leaving now not because things magically reached a point where it was magically okay for us to go. Things are not drastically better this month than they were last month or the month before that. September 1st is not the day on which bombs will stop exploding in Iraq. We're going now because we said that we would go. That is how the Afghanistan war will likely end as well, unless our politics about that war get even less coherent than they are right now. Looming over the ends to these wars is the recognition that as at least the Iraq war ends, so too ends the narrative that an elective war could be constructive. An elective war could turn things around and make a broken place better. What's different now than it was before is an acknowledgement by the United States that the success and the future of these countries where we have been fighting, that success, the future of these countries, is not up to us.
We have to allow Iraq to do that. We can't do that for them. What we've done is maybe set the conditions now that allows them to do that. And that's what I think we should be proud about, at least from a uniform perspective, is that we believe that we've now provided the space and time for the political process and the economic process to start moving forward. It's now time for them to grab on.
The space and time. We've provided them the space and time. It's now time for them. So says the top U.S. commander in Iraq as the U.S. combat mission there ends. If that sentiment sounds familiar to you, it's because you've been very good and you've been paying attention.
We have enough to do what we have got to do in Kandahar, assuming that the Afghans step up and do their part.
If they don't?
Well, then we will have given them the best chance they've ever had.
We will have given them the best chance they've ever had, says Brigadier General Ben Hodges in Afghanistan. We can't do it for them, says General Ray Odierno in Iraq. This is new. Hearing that about both wars, maybe it's a whole new world. NBC's chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel joins us live from Baghdad next.